Hi, it's Cami from the blog Tidbits at tidbits-cami.com. Thanks for taking a minute to watch my video today. I just want to cover 6 of the design regrets that I have for our living room space. All right, if you saw earlier, I just shared a room reveal for our living room. I wanted to share this video on some of the design regrets that I have, not to be ungrateful for our space, but since we basically designed and built our pole barn home from the ground up. This is the first home that we've ever built. We love it, but there are a few things that I'm learning that I wished I would have done differently. Doesn't mean I'm ungrateful for our home, but I just kind of look at things and think, oh, if I were to do that again, this is what I would do. So in an effort to just help you, if you're maybe designing a pole barn home, if you're watching me for that kind of inspiration, or designing any home for that matter, hopefully you can kind of take the decisions that we've made and some of the things that we wish we would have done differently and help you as you're designing your own space. So there's just 6 little things that I maybe would have wished I would have done differently from the beginning. So I thought I would share those with you today. Okay, the first design regret I have is unfortunately a structural one, so not easily swapped out, but it is the window here. It's the main window. It looks out in the front of the house, kind of the front yard when we have a yard. It is a stunning view, and we put what we felt was the biggest window that we could fit in this spot because we wanted to enjoy that view. So I don't really regret the size per se, but we really regret that we picked a window that has 2 sides that open, which means that the view is just obstructed. The lines and the grids from the window are basically, just obstructing this amazing view. And we don't hardly open these windows at all. So my husband and I have often talked, we wish that this window we would have just done just clear glass, no grids, just kept this view wide open to enjoy. So that is one of the design regrets that we have. Kind of similar to if you saw my kitchen regret video, we have these beautiful windows and we put grids and stuff in them and broke them up. I just really love now a more clean and simple window that opens up to a beautiful view. So if you're choosing windows for your home, think about that. Do you want to what kind of function do you want? And then if it's something that you can get away with just keeping a clear open window, I would highly suggest that because it just makes it so it's more enjoyable. So anyway, that is my first design regret for this space. So the second design regret, fortunately, we are able to do something about it, and we are right now. So our pole barn home is very open floor plan, and we have the front door and then we have a side door where we mostly come in from because it kind of links to the garage. And then our mudroom is just kind of a hop, skip, and a jump through the kitchen and living room into the mudroom and living room, which I shared a reveal of on my blog. I don't know what I was thinking, but when we were designing the floor plan, I just didn't think that a mudroom right by the door was going to be that important. And I know that's silly to say now, but I just didn't think it would be a big deal for all of us to walk through and put our shoes away in this locker/laundry room. We quickly realized that was not going to work, as shoes were just piling up at the side door or the front door. We don't have a yard yet, so kids are just tracking mud in if we tried to get them to put them in the mudroom. So we quickly learned that we really need a mudroom space before you enter the house. I know that seems so obvious, but I was just trying to stick with this open floor plan, and that's just where the mudroom worked. So how we're fixing that, we actually extended our interior under the porch. So we have a wraparound porch, and we decided that we would rather have some storage and mudroom space, and actually even extended it further. So I now get an office in this space. So this is an ongoing project. And it really looks great from the outside. You would never guess that this is something that we added on later. I'm kind of sad that we are losing that porch room, but we have so much porch space anyway. I don't think we'll miss it in the long run. It'll be a nice little breezeway. We'll put some pretty cobblestone or something outside, but it looks pretty good from the outside. We're continuing the same siding, and it looks like it was always supposed to be there. So my regret is that I wish we would have just done that in the first place. Thought about the mudroom, thought about the need for more storage. The office is definitely an afterthought because we built an office, but then when I pulled my kids out of school, it became kind of the homeschool space. So now I get my own office in this little extension. So just something I wish we would have done in the first place, but I'm glad that we can kind of remedy that now. All right, the third regret I have has to do with the furniture. If you watched my living room reveal video, and it was kind of a frequently asked questions video, I get asked about these 6-penny furniture pieces that I picked out quite frequently. And I explained in that video a lot more about how I feel about them. My regret is that they're not that comfortable. They're really beautiful, but I bought them online without being able to read or find very many reviews on them. So I bought furniture that just is not that comfortable, and I do regret it, and I feel like eventually we're gonna wanna replace that so we have a more comfortable, cozy space. So if you can, before you're investing lots of money on new furniture, I highly suggest you find a source where you can sit on them or find enough reviews that you feel confident that it's something that will meet your comfort level. So just something for you to think about. Okay, my fourth regret is another one with the furnishings, and it has to do with this rug. I love the colors of this rug. I love the style. And again, in my living room reveal video, I talked a lot about it. It's a wool rug, 100% wool, and it is just beautiful. Problem is, my kids call it a scratchy rug, and they don't love it. It's not a rug that the kids love to sit and play on because it's, you know, it's wool. It's just not that cozy. So I do regret choosing that because comfort and making sure that my kids can play on the floor and enjoy it is still important to me. So I'll enjoy the rug for probably a few more years still, but I do regret not purchasing one that's a little more comfortable. I also think that I could have gone bigger with it and made this living room space actually feel a little bit bigger. It feels proportioned, but I still think I could get away with a 9x12 instead of an 8x10. But when I was shopping for them, 8x10s are significantly cheaper than 9x12s, as I'm sure you've noticed. But now I don't love it, and perhaps next time I will just make sure that I spend a little extra to get the size and style that I want, and will be happier with in the long run. Okay, the fifth regret I have, and maybe it's not so much a regret, but I do get asked a lot if I like the open floor plan of our pole barn home. So our living room and kitchen and hallway are all really open and connected. And it's great in the sense that I feel, well, I always know where everyone's at. I can always hear what they're doing, but the problem is it is kind of loud, and I don't know, I don't want to say it doesn't feel cozy, but it is a very open feeling. And I do find that I'm craving more of a cozy room-to-room vibe nowadays. But having said that, this is a pole barn home, and I was kind of embracing that style and that floor plan. So it works for the home. So I don't really regret that we did it, but I will say if we ever build again, or if I'm thinking ahead of another home, I will probably compartmentalize the rooms a little differently. So it still flows together, but they're more separated. I think that will just give it a more cozy vibe. It won't be so loud. This house can really echo. You can kind of hear a pin drop from wall to wall. So the open floor plan's great as far as entertaining and stuff, but I am craving a little more of a cozy vibe in a floor plan. So maybe something you can think about if you are lucky enough to get to design your own home. Okay, maybe the last and final regret I have is to do with the fireplace. It's just a faux fireplace, so we don't have like an electric in there or a gas or even a wood burning. And I kind of wish we would have thought about making sure that we built it in the first place to be an alternative heat source. should there ever be an emergency or a need, or I think it might be kind of cozy to have that. Now we do have the electrical in there so that we could buy an electric fireplace and plug it in and run it that way, but I don't really love the looks of them, so right now I'll either stack wood in there or we have a dog bed in there. I like the look of the faux fireplace, but I do regret that we didn't take that extra time to maybe build it in the first place to be like a wood burning or an alternative heat source for our home. We were thinking about that decision when we were building, but we're kind of rushed. So we just decided to close it off, tile it, and we could convert it technically to a wood burning stove, but it would take quite a bit of work. We would have to get different tile that would handle that kind of heat. So it's just not likely to happen. So I wish that was just something we would have thought about in the first place. Took a little bit of extra effort to get it to a point where it could have been a heat source for our home. So those are the only design regrets I have. There's so much I love about this space, and pretty much shared all of that on my reveal for this room. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't watched it, but I do hope that was helpful. And then I think you'll enjoy checking out my blog where I go into a little bit more detail about these things, link you to sources and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching today, and I'll be back with more inspiration for do-it-yourself living.